Welcome back to the Salty Podcast, where it's always a great day to talk about sailing. This is episode 36. Today, we dive into a story of adventure and discovery. I'm joined by Shane, a financial advisor who at times trades his desk for a deck and embarks on sailing journeys with his wife, sailor Amy. Amy and Shane set out from Louisiana and stumbled upon an unexpected paradise in Mexico on their way to Guatemala. And now they are back in Louisiana. And we'll be talking about this voyage, the surprises they encountered, and what it's really like to live the dream that so many are just selling. We'll also talk about some of their previous adventures in the Caribbean. So stay tuned as we explore their amazing adventures together and uncover what happens next. So let's bring them out. Welcome, Shane and Amy. Welcome.
Hey, everybody.
Good to meet you, Captain Tinsley.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate you coming on tonight. So we were talking just a little bit. Please explain the shirt.
Well, I guess GenX pads, and we got Maverick and Goose here, but Maverick is the name of our boat and Goose is the name of our dinghy. So, this is as political as we get here.
Well, it's fitting for us GenX, so because we definitely that takes us back, doesn't it?
Right,
It really does. Top Gun is where it's all at.
Yeah, brings back good memories. Now, so describe the boat that you have and how you came up with that name.
Well, it's a Cal 246. It's got a hull design from a very famous boat, a Cal 40. That's won races way back in the 70s and still continues to win races. So it's a Bill Lapworth design. It's a very good hull design. This one here is a boat that they actually decided on to use as their own cruising boat. And I think Lapworth put over like 150,000 miles on this boat cruising around the world. How we kind of stumbled on it really is we had a really good friend of ours that's in the marine industry, and he built boats and he fixes boats. He owned his own marina, and I would keep asking him about boats. He's like, "You don't want that one. You don't want that one. You don't want that one." So I was like, Amy, I think every boat we ask him about, he's going to say no to, And I kind of settled on this Cal 246. The reason that I did is it's got like about 250 gallons of water tankage. It's got 250 gallons of diesel. It's a motor sailor, but it's kind of the best of both worlds. It's not a great sailor, it's got a big high cabin top, and it'll motor for about 1,500 miles.
Oh my goodness!
So it was something that we wanted. I told him about the boat, and I was looking at one in Texas and one in New York.
And San Diego, I think.
And San Diego, I believe, as well. Yeah, because they're a West Coast. Cal is a West Coast design. There's a lot of Cals out there. And anyway, he popped out his cabin hatch. He was in Guatemala at the time, took a picture and said, "You need to come look at this boat." And we went down to Guatemala, and I was like, how the heck are we going to get this boat back from Guatemala?
Yeah. We were actually planning to go to Panama. We weren't even initially looking at boats. So we were headed to Panama, finally found a beautiful Sky, wasn't it?
Sky 51.
In Panama, and we already had plane tickets and everything. We actually changed the tickets over to Guatemala. So that changed everything.
Wow. Okay. And it looks like you brought all your best friends on the podcast. Here's Sissy.
Hey,
welcome,
Sissy.
Shane and Amy. These are all people you know. Kathy, Ma, Pete, Knox.
That's
how about
Mama.
Birdface? Birdface.
Cold.
And Sissy says it's a beautiful boat. And then we got one more. Look at all these. Elizabeth.
Hey,
She gave you a kiss. Thanks, guys. Y'all just keep on chiming in. We appreciate it.
Thanks for watching.
Oh, there's one more. Darlene.
They'll probably, hey, Dee. They'll probably start popping in now.
And that's our friend that really wants to get out of the U.S. and come with us.
Yeah, she's ready to go.
Okay. And who did you say Birdface is? They keep leaving me at home for the boat. Is that your mom? You said?
That's my son. That's the middle.
Oh,
the
that's
middle.
your son.
He's 20. We actually took him with us on our first trip down. He spent 5 or 6 months with us. The first trip down, exploring Belize and Guatemala. And
I think we ruined them
because he's ready to go back and stay there.
I bet. How old is he?
He's almost 20.
Oh my gosh, no wonder.
Yeah.
Darlene says, "Save me a spot."
Yes, always.
Well, you have quite a fan base here.
Oh, great family and friends.
Okay, so all right, I have some questions here just to keep things rolling. How did you and Amy meet? And what's it like sailing together as a team?
That question comes up a lot.
It does. I would say we met several years back playing adult kickball, if you believe it or not.
That's very Gen X. That's very I missed that.
But what's funny is that now we're probably way too old and things hurt too much to ever do that again. So, so we took up sailing instead. But yeah, we, gosh, I think that's one of the questions that were asked the most, what's it like being a team, being a couple, and living in these close quarters and working as a team. And we have a lot of thoughts on that. People all the time tell us, gosh, how do you stand being that close to each other all the time? And it's going to sound like I'm making it up, but it's true. We love it. We're always together anyway, and we just really enjoy it, and we never argue. We never, of course there are moments when you're sailing when, I'm driving, we're trying to anchor, he's up front, I can't hear him, that kind of stuff. But it's, we seem to just work as a team really well.
I think it kind of goes two ways, basically, for couples, is that it either pushes you farther apart or it pushes you closer together.
Yeah.
And especially if you're a solo sailor, you kind of know that when you're out there and you're sailing, I mean, it's a huge deal. Like if I'm going down below to take a nap, I pretty much have to rely on her, my life's in her hands. And it really does. I like she said, when she's driving and I'm up front, and that's kind of how we set everything up, is that she's doing most of the docking, like she's on the helm and I'm fending off or doing the lines and stuff. I worry about her initially, pushing off and, because it's a heavy boat. So that's kind of pretty much how we set things up. Mm-hmm. And I trust her, and it's really kind of helped us a lot, I think. It's been awesome, really.
Yeah, it's brought us closer together for sure. Yeah.
Did you both have experience before?
I would say, my background is I'm from Canada, and I always tell people, hey, I'm from the islands. Well, I'm from Newfoundland, which is an island northeast in Canada, and my whole family grew up fishing. Here's my sister right here.
Kiki.
And my father, all my uncles, they all fish. So I grew up around boats, and a lot of people I knew kind of went that way and got into fishing, and I was not interested in it, actually. But I did learn a love of water from my father and my uncle. I mean, they just absolutely loved it. And every time we would go out, they would say how lucky we are, to go out there. But I did not see myself as a fisherman, and I was like, no, I got to get out of here. So I joined the Navy to get away from the water. So when I joined the Navy, I was a Marine engineer. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the marine engineer side of it, and working on boats and stuff. But sailing was a little different. I mean, because you're dealing with the military and you're dealing with structure, and I didn't really feel that was a big turn on for me either. So my background is in boating is kind of from that standpoint. From sailing, till 4 years ago, really neither one of us had any experience sailing, and I kind of learned, sailing, and I kind of know the majority of the systems on the boat. So, but they're different. Every boat's different, and that's kind of the deal. I felt comfortable. I was like, okay, if something breaks, I can probably figure it out if I've got enough time. So that's kind of the background. So
and I was probably, I know all my friends and family were shocked and probably still are. I'm the last person you ever would have considered to be a sailor. So I majored in music in college, worked in credit unions, worked in mortgages for the last, 20 years or so. And I would say that when I told everyone what we were doing, there was a collective gasp, and I think people still can't really believe it.
What is that right, Birdface? He says we had no prior experience.
That's right. And Shane's being really humble, but I think when you're sailing, man, my confidence in him is really high. He said he trusts me, and I have so much to learn, but it really helps to have someone on board who knows a little bit about everything, and he does. He would say, his weakness was probably the electric system. He's still learning, but he has a lot of experience with engines, and I mean, there hasn't been anything yet that he hasn't been able to fix. So he pretty much blows me away with the way he's able to get into a problem and figure it out. There may be some gnashing of teeth and maybe a curse word here and there, but
gnashing of teeth, I like that.
Figures it out.
Well, so your first trip was from Guatemala to Louisiana, right?
No. So we got the boat in Guatemala. We spent that year cruising around Belize. So we left
6 months.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we left Guatemala, went up to Belize. We kind of sailed around Belize, and then went back to Guatemala. Left the boat in Guatemala, and then flew back.
Okay.
So that was our first experience with regards to that. The next time was a sail across, right? Because that was the first year we just went down and worked on the boat and took the boat out like in the lake, Lake Isabel. Got familiar with the boat. Yeah. We didn't go out of Guatemala. We just sailed around the lakes and stuff down there, kind of learning the systems and stuff.
That was in 2021.
Yeah. The second year we went to Belize. And then this third year, we actually met a friend that bought a boat over in Florida, actually. And then...
I'm sorry, I keep laughing at the comments.
I know, I'm cracking up. It's a busy comment section. I love it. Keep them coming.
Yes.
He bought a boat over in Florida and didn't know really how to sail. Mm-hmm. So he had a catamaran, and we had a dinghy that we had bought up here. I had a radar that I wanted to put on it. So I told him that I would help him sail down to Guatemala if I could take my stuff on board. And that's kind of how the trip to Guatemala, because we had planned just to fly back there and sail our boat up. Yeah. So honestly, I probably overloaded that little catamaran, on the way down.
Yeah.
But
And
how much stuff did you take? Was it like just all kinds of equipment you're going to put on the boat?
Yeah.
There was a lot of equipment, a lot of tools, and there was 4 of us. And this was a smaller catamaran. It's like a 35-foot catamaran that had... It was an older style catamaran, and they changed it. They put on sugar scoops and made it longer so it wouldn't hobby horse. Yeah. So it ends up that's a 37-foot catamaran, but really it's a 35-foot kind of extension,
Yeah. And I have
a small catamaran.
He's probably watching or will watch eventually. His name is Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. We owe you so much, because that really allowed us to bring down what we needed to make the journey back.
Because buying stuff there is probably tough. Like it gets taxed if you have it delivered there, right?
Yeah, and it's not
just
easy
getting
to find.
Yeah,
like getting things to Guatemala is a challenge. It takes a long time, and it's expensive. So the fact that we were able to do that was huge. So yeah, we owe him a lot. And
even though you almost sunk the boat.
Yeah.
Well, we almost sunk a sail, that's for sure. So the catamaran sails differently, and I thought that sailing downwind. We left, so if you've ever thought or planned of a trip crossing the Gulf going down, you're waiting for a northern, and you're kind of leaving on the tail end of that northern. before the winds start changing to the southeast again, against us. So I knew that, I would have a few days to get most of the way down, and I thought that the catamaran would sail better downwind. Well, this sea wind, you can't put the boom out very far. The sail rubs against the shroud. So honestly, we struggled. We didn't get as much speed as we needed going downwind, so we didn't get far along as we thought before the wind started to change. And about probably 3/4 of the way across, it started to change from the southeast, and it's got so that you know this. I just told you that Maverick has 250-gallon diesel tanks. This boat has 25-gallon gasoline tanks. 2 little outboards, 2 little 9.9s. So I had 15 jerry cans with us because I knew the was 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
Our fourth crew member, Amanda, when she arrived here, she flew up to Louisiana,
She lives in Belize.
Yeah, she lives in Belize. She joined us and is going to go with us probably to the Bahamas too. When she got here and found out that the catamaran only had 25 gallons of fuel capacity, she was not happy with me.
Wow.
I mean, hey, we had jerry cans and we made it work, but it was making me nervous. That was the one
cans.
Yeah.
15 cans.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, by the time, about 2/3 of the way, which is kind of what I expected, the wind did change, and just motor, and I realized we weren't going to make it to Isla Mujeres, so I bared off the wind and we sailed.
Where did you leave from?
We left from New Orleans, so we sailed all the way down. Well, motored. We motored
I was
all
thinking you were leaving from Florida, but
no. Yeah, or Mandeville. So we went across Lake Pontchartrain all the way through New Orleans,
which was awesome going down the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Yeah, that was neat. And then we got down to Venice and set off across the Gulf. It's pretty cool. It was an awesome experience.
It was really good. It was good sailing pretty much the whole way.
We were very lucky with weather. Very good weather.
Weather was good.
On the way down, we had all good weather. On the way up, there's a bit of a story there. So,
would you say that since you brought that boat back to Louisiana, that I felt like the first time I took it to my boat from Orange Beach, Alabama to the Keys and back, I learned so much on that trip. And I was by myself, mostly by myself. So it's just me and the boat. And I learned, you just learn. It's like you have no choice,
Yeah. Yes.
But you can learn, do all the book smart stuff and all that. And but until you're out there and just trying different things, I think that's when I learned the most.
Yeah, you learn how your particular boat, behaves, and I know there's a big, different people like catamarans, different people like monohulls, and we kind of had a real good experience on both of them. And this was a small catamaran, so I will tell you that based upon that, I don't think a catamaran's in my future.
They're very comfortable, at anchor. They're roomy. They're great. The movement, like I was expecting it because I heard about it. The movement is definitely different. The
first time she ever got seasick. Actually, the only time
I've ever been sick was one night going across the Gulf on that cat when
really
it was the current against wind, and we were kind of getting this kind of movement on the cat. And I mean, I never get sick, and I did that night. That was the only time.
Yeah, and also if it's your boat and you're in control of it, I think that makes it different too. When like if I went deep sea fishing with some people before, and I was not in control of the boat.
Oh yeah.
And when it starts doing movements that you're not happy with, you can't change it.
That move, it's a little bit different. Yeah, absolutely. Do anything about it. Yeah.
And Sissy just brought up something. She was like,
there's Jack.
That's Jack. That's my son there.
Learning to control Matt or more.
Definitely Matt. Know the answer to that, Jack. Definitely control
Jack
Matt.
asked if it's harder to control Maverick or his younger brother Matt.
Okay. And then we got Birdface. Ooh, talk about the horrors of Ranguana.
Ranguana, that's another story.
But Sissy brought up a thing. She was like alone, and strong. We sailed together. We had 2 other people with us, but you single hand, and that's a whole different animal. I
have so much admiration and respect for people that do that.
You don't get a chance to kind of take that break. It's like, so it's really, really difficult. And we've got a friend of ours, a really good friend of ours, that sailed around the world. He built his own boat, left in 1981 from Fort Townsend, and sailed the first 6 years without a motor.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how can I get him on the podcast?
Yeah, you need to. As a matter of fact, we want to do some interviews, some sit downs with him. He is fascinating.
He's a double-edged sword, I will tell you that.
Oh yeah? How so? Is he a Gen X or a boomer?
He's a boomer.
He's a boomer.
He's hilarious. The stories are, and he's a great storyteller. You really do need to talk to Casey.
That sounds awesome.
He's pretty well known in Guatemala.
Yes.
Let's see. Kathy says, "Cannot imagine traveling alone." Oh yes. Oh, there's nothing like it. It's very gratifying. It's very gratifying.
No doubt. Yeah, we've only been just the 2 of us on sailing on Maverick twice, a couple of times just for a few days. All of our big sails, all of our passages.
We should always have friends.
We always have friends that want to come with us.
Oh, so you really haven't been on there by yourself?
Sailing, for 4, 5, 6 days at a time. The big passages.
It's just out to islands and
we left Guatemala this time together, just the 2 of us, and went to Belize together. Went to Placencia and picked up a friend, and actually all the way to Key Conquer, we picked up a person. So we have done some together, but when you're going on a long passage and a friend wants to come along that's a help, somebody that can actually help, it's hard to say no.
Yeah, so Jeff, he's probably on here listening too.
Just another Jeff.
He's got a boat down in Guatemala, and he's probably going to be single-handed, and he just wanted some experience.
Yeah.
And he's a really good friend of ours, and he wanted to make the trip with us.
So
and
he made the trip back up across.
Yeah.
So
you're getting all your friends into sailing or something?
I guess that's the way it is, I guess,
I love it. And I have a lot of friends who say, we need to take them out and Lake Pontchartrain, so we're waiting for a new mainsail, because we did blow out our mainsail on the crossing back to Louisiana. We hit a 50-knot squall, so that was an old mainsail. So.
Actually, you probably heard of that boat that washed up in Pensacola, right?
Not too long ago.
I remember hearing about that.
So that was the exact same night. We were in the exact same squall that they called Mayday. We were only a few miles from them.
Yeah. That was June. That was very early June. Everything was fine, and this was only bad weather for the entire trip down and back up. This was the only bad weather we encountered, and it was pretty gnarly. I mean, it was our first experience, a squall experience under sail, and
it was 53 knots, so it was pretty good. We ended up, it was actually an old main that we had that we knew. Once again, you talked about Guatemala. We couldn't get one down in Guatemala. We tried, our plan was when we got back up here is just to get a new mainsail, and it was taken care of for us about halfway across the Gulf.
That decision was made for.
You're supposed to reef early in a storm.
We thought we did.
Actually, we were. I was.
If you feel that wind starting to something's coming,
So I was completely reefed. We were reefed down right down to. Yeah, the sail is literally. It was really old, but I was completely. The funny thing.
To go.
Yeah, the funny thing is, we actually went through one squall, and it got up to about 35 knots. And it's funny. You'll probably see that in one of our videos. I'm actually talking about that, and I was like, they say reef early, and I was. So when the squall came by, it really wasn't any problem at 30 knots. We sailed right on. We kept sailing reach. It was no problem at all. And then it literally on the radar, it just blew up right around us, and we were like right in the middle of it. And it went from 30. Actually, it was 30 knots initially, then it went back down to about 15 to 20 again. And then when it blew up around us, it went from 15 knots to 53 knots in a matter of 5 minutes.
Yeah. Lightning everywhere. It was crazy. It was,
yeah.
We have a very high freeboard on Maverick. And these guys, we were all very focused on our jobs at the time. And actually, I do have some footage. I did have to put the camera down at some point, so you only have sound because it was kind of crazy. But that high freeboard was in the water. So once we got upwind, or was it downwind?
Once we turned upwind to get the head sail basically in, and then turned on the motor and basically motored downwind.
She righted herself,
because the sail was blown out. I couldn't get it down. Yeah. So we just we were kind of further east this time, maybe pointed towards Pensacola, because I knew the way the wind was. We were on a beam reach, doing well, and we were in the current. And I knew that later on I was going to actually have to turn, west anyway to get down to Louisiana. And I basically just ran with the storm for about 2 hours, and it actually got us down to our rum line. And then when things kind of went away and we turned up, we were pretty much right on course for Louisiana. We were out of the current at that point, so we kind of lost about 2 knots of speed, but it actually worked out pretty well for us.
It gave me a lot of confidence in Maverick. This is a very solid, very comfortable. I feel very safe in this boat. I'm not glad we had to go through it, but I'm glad that we learned what we learned from it, because it happens to everybody. I'm sure.
It does.
And I can't even imagine going through it single-handed like that. But
well, I had some conditions coming across the Gulf in December, and I kept hearing the warnings on the VHF, and I thought, I better tell somebody I'm out here. So I called the Coast Guard, because they should say, I've also heard call early, reef early, call early.
Yeah.
And so I just said, hey, I've heard a couple of warnings, and I just want to let you know where I am. And they followed up with me like every half hour until I was tied up to a dock. I even wanted them to go away at one point because I got into a bay and it was all quiet. I was so tired. It was like 30 hours nonstop, and I couldn't get in, and I was having some I was getting white smoke out of my engine and not all the RPMs. And so I couldn't get where I wanted to go, because the waves were preventing me, and I didn't have all the RPMs. Right. And so when I finally got into Apalachicola Bay, they called, and I said, I'm good now. But they wouldn't stop calling me until I was tied up. And I was really happy about that.
That's great. Yeah. So I saw my mom asked earlier, I think she was wanting to know, what's your longest trip by yourself?
Well, usually if it's going to be like 48 hours, Scott will come with me and make that crossing with me. Say from Clearwater, from Destin to Clearwater. That's about just under 48 hours. Okay. And I'll get him to do that with me, but I'll do 30 hours. And then I'll go all the way to Keys, but I will break it up. I'll stop and overnight and hang out, and for a couple of days even. Okay. I make it fun. I have a little bike, a little fold up bike, awesome. And so, but 30 hours. I do 18. Like from Marco to the Keys is about 18 hours. Okay. Whether it's to Marathon or Key West, and those. So I'm just napping in the cockpit.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people don't get, is that I think they think you're doing something the whole time, and you always hear it, but it's kind of like 90% boredom. So there's matter of fact, I would say most of the time I'm looking for things to do. I'm trimming the sails. I'm just kind of going around checking things, and there's really not a lot to do. But I do find it difficult to sleep.
Yeah. She ain't let any pirates board this boat. That
ain't happening.
This is the wrong boat. Don't do it.
No,
no pirates.
So
they don't want any part of me. I'm ready for them.
They don't want this.
Yeah. They don't want any part of me. You know what I'm talking about. They
don't want They don't want to be trying to get on any Gen Xers boats.
No.
We're a little bit.
What were
Sissy,
you?
talking too much. Y'all throw me overboard. I love her.
Now I did have I did set out from Clearwater one time to go to Destin by myself. And about 1:30 in the morning, and I was about 12 hours in, about 1:30 in the morning, I got vertical lightning in front of me. And I have Sirius Weather XM on my chart plotter, and it was moving off the coast. And so I stopped. I just stopped in the water and thought, let it go by. No, it started moving towards me. And I was like, oh, should I just go through the vertical lightning? And I decided against it. It was like striking the water in front of me. And
That's
so
one of my worst fears is
I was
lightning.
so mad. I was so mad. And the water went from calm, like the calm Gulf, to bathtub. And so I turned around, and my husband was tracking me, and he was here in Gulf Shores, and he woke up and texted me on the InReach Explorer, and he goes, "You're going the wrong way," because I had turned. And I thought if I just go back this way a little bit, but it just kept following me, and I was so mad. And I made a lot of progress, and I said, and then he pulled up his computer. There's a storm following you. I go, yeah.
I think that
another friend got up and checked too, and she said the same thing. Are you awake? Your boat turned around.
Yeah, our track through that squall was wild and crazy.
I think that's something that is difficult for non-sailors to understand. Like, for you to give up, it takes a lot to fight your way, and for you to give up fighting your way and give up ground, no sailor likes to do that. Like, it has to be. And I tell you, that lightning that we saw, that was probably the most, and like, it would hit, and Amy would go, oh, and that's the thing is, like, getting hit by lightning, there's so many things that can happen. I mean, it blows out your electronics, and that's a huge deal. But the lightning has to go somewhere, and if it blows a hole in your boat, I mean,
my mom is not going to need to hear that. Don't say that.
Let me see if let's see if she's saying anything here. There's a lot of comments in here, but
yeah, they're awesome.
They're not commenting right now. Well, look at this one. They got quiet all of a sudden. Oh wait, here's one. Didn't stop. Made it less than ETA. Didn't stop for gas.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I was more mad than anything that I had to go back 12 hours. And I didn't go back to Clearwater. I went back to Tarpon Springs. So, and then the next day I left from there, just made a shorter crossing. Yeah. But it's all in the experience. I have a good friend that whenever, when do you always like hurt yourself on the boat? You look down, you're just blood coming out of your leg. Like, how did that happen? Yeah, it's all part of the experience.
Where's it from? Yeah.
That happened today.
Yes.
So my friend, whenever something bad happens on the boat, he just says it's all part of the experience, and so I started saying that. You got to take the good with the bad.
So true. So true.
All right. So you said, so what's this about the Caribbean? You said that you had some adventures in the Caribbean too.
Yeah, well, that's what we haven't been to the Eastern Caribbean. That's on the list of things to do. Just the Western Caribbean, Belize, Mexico, and out of Guatemala. So that's been our stomping ground so far.
And we've really enjoyed Belize. Like, they have just got so many remote, and what we kind of like is we like remote, off by ourselves type things. It may not sound like that because we always seem to have friends with us.
That's true.
But that's kind of cool. We've met like so many good friends, and we just always, we'll take off, and I think that's the thing is, like, we like to get out and around, just another couple or two or three couples. And it's been awesome. Some of the islands in Belize are just it's amazing to be able to sit on the back of your boat and jump in the water. And then in Mexico, it's kind of funny. In Mexico, on the way down, we were sailing. We wanted to stop into Tulum. It was nighttime. It wasn't really right, so I decided to kind of keep on going through the night because we were going to try and day hop down.
I don't like pulling into places at night.
No.
still anxiety inducing.
A new place.
Yeah.
Is kind of, and down there generally it's going through a reef, through a cut.
Yeah.
So you pretty much need to have good light. So we kind of head on down, and then I wanted to get into this small fishing community down in Mexico because I'd read about it, and that's the thing. Like, I really research a lot of the places that I go.
Sure.
We didn't
Like
really like
you said, this small fishing village.
that was Punta Allen.
Mm-hmm.
So Punta Allen is in Beta Spiritus, I think.
Yeah.
It's right in the lower. It's probably about halfway between Isla Mujeres and San Pedro.
Yeah.
So it was a good stopping point. But it's awesome. It's just a little fishing community.
But we missed that one. But you'll see in the next video coming out where we ended up. When we crossed the Gulf going down in the catamaran, we were aiming for Isla Mujeres.
We should talk about Rio. Rio Lagartos.
That's what you'll see in the next one. Aiming for Isla Mujeres, but blew out.
I've been to those places, but not by boat.
Right. Oh, it was amazing.
Have you been to Rio Lagartos?
No, not there, but I've been to Isla Mujeres and, Cozumel.
Yeah.
Cancun, Belize, Ambergris Key.
Yeah. San Pedro, but that's where we pulled in. But
Roatan.
So Honduras Bay Islands,
Mm-hmm.
So when we were coming up, like I said, we were kind of getting the wind was going against us, so we
went down.
So we bared off, and we were trying to make Hobbox, and it still kind of pushed us farther west. So we ended up in this place. I was kind of looking on the chart. It's like, I don't know anything between here and Progreso. Like, I was like, I don't know where we're going to go, where we're going to end up.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw this little place, looked like it was decent. It was a river. I said, okay, we can anchor there. Fix one of our engines we had a little bit of issues with. I wanted to try and get that fixed up, and then so we got in there.
Rio Lagartos.
But when we went in there, we find out this is like a nature reserve, and they have pink lakes, salt lakes, and have flamingos there. The flamingos that go to Florida stay there year round and mate there. Crocodile. Maybe I shouldn't say that with your mom around as well. But,
crocodiles, yeah.
But
Pelicans, my favorite, pelicans everywhere. It's incredible. This video is going to be beautiful.
I can't wait to see it.
Oh man, we showed up not knowing what to expect, and it was mind blowing. Amanda, who came with us, she said it's one of the most amazing places she's ever been, and she has sailed a lot. So it's pretty incredible.
Well, you got great friends. You got to you could go around the world with all these friends.
We're so blessed.
We pretty much have them everywhere.
Everywhere we go, the most amazing people, and to be able to bring them with us on these adventures is awesome. Yeah.
I have to introduce tonight's sponsor.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Which is me. In case you didn't know, my name is Tinsley Myrick. I'm with Remax of Orange Beach. I sell Gulffront condos here in Orange Beach and Gulf Shores. And so I've been doing this for 21 years, so I know what I'm doing. So come on down if you want to buy a Gulffront condo or a Gulffront house or a non-waterfront house or condo. And there's the phone number and there's the email, tinsleyMyrick.com. Appreciate you letting me do that. I had to get that in there.
Yeah,
that's right. Got to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of, so did you like my little introduction? Trade in the deck for the desk for the deck.
We might steal that.
I might steal that one from you.
Absolutely. So are you helping other people do this? You froze up. Am I frozen?
No, you're not frozen.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're frozen, but you got nice smiles on your face. Okay. So are you helping people achieve, could you advise people on how to manage their money in such a way where they could go sailing?
So I don't know if you did go to our website, but we've got, kind of on our website, it says, what's your sailboat? And that's kind of the deal with an investment advisor. And I would say that I'm probably not your typical investment advisor because I think that, traditional retirement is maybe not what a lot of people think of it is. And I would say my experience has kind of been is that, especially men women seem to have an easier time with retiring, but men, I think their identity is tied to what they do, and they don't like to give up, what they do, and retirement to them may be sailing, it may be traveling, it could be anything, but. So that's what I do when I do talk to people. That's mostly we have questions about what their goals are for retirement.
Hey Heather, I see you. Yep, you're going with us next. I'm sorry we're frozen, guys. I'm trying to fix that.
Yeah, try turning your camera off for a second. See if that helps. And luckily my husband and I, we both sell real estate in this market. So we are able to travel because we deal mostly with second home market and investment properties. And most of the people live elsewhere. Like a lot of our clients are from Louisiana.
Yeah, well, I will tell you, it's kind of one of the things that really made me to kind of decide to do this, because generally when I talk to my clients, they're talking about what they want to do, and what it has been, in the past, is that they tell you what their dreams and goals are, and I help.
We lost them, but they're going to come back. We'll just give them a second. Can't wait to hear the rest of that story. So you guys still with me in the comment section here? Heather says that she's going with them next time. Heather, where are you? Are you in Louisiana? Looks like they're back.
Oh, shoot.
Okay. I hear you. Don't say anything bad.
Let's see if I can
Just don't
start.
see you.
Yeah.
Let's try to restart. Oh, I don't know what it's doing.
Well, sometimes if you leave the studio and come back in, is that what you did? Sometimes that'll help.
Off. Let's see. I'll leave studio and come back.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So Heather says we are going with them next. Oh, Heather's in Louisiana. I see that. Okay. That's awesome. Well, we might have to do it without. We might have to do it without the camera.
Sorry.
I guess so.
Darn it.
Is the camera actually the camera?
Yeah, you know what? Let me try this.
Lakeisha says needs to get better Wi-Fi on that boat. Sometimes, sometimes the Starlink can interrupt. You know what I mean?
Maybe the camera. I'm not really sure. But anyway, let's.
Well,
I'll keep
working on it, and he can keep talking if you want.
Okay, yeah. So tell me what you were saying.
So what I found is that when I talk to people, the goals and dreams of a 50-year-old is different than the goals and dreams of a 70-year-old or 65-year-old. And typically that's what they do. They're like, okay, I want to buy a sailboat and I want to sail. And
At
by
what
the time,
age?
well, generally when I start working with somebody, typically I'm working with somebody that is, approaching retirement, or they just entered retirement. So lots of times, I'll start working with somebody 55, 60, 65, so what they'll do is they'll start talking about their dreams and goals, but they do change. If they've got a 10-year, 15-year plan, just because your goal changes. And that's kind of where we were. We were like, okay, well, we can sit and we can wait, until we're 65, but we may not want to.
Oh, it looks like you turned off your mic. I'm going to turn it back on. Well, it wouldn't let me. Okay.
Can you hear me? Okay,
yeah.
I guess we got no video. I'm so sorry. I don't know why.
Something's going on with the camera itself.
Yeah,
actually.
it's a external camera here, but it's messing up.
Did you go to settings in StreamYard? Because you can connect the external camera to your computer. Then you have to go into the settings of StreamYard.
This is going to fix it, I think.
Yay! Yes, I see you.
Thank you. That was the right fix. Okay.
Well, what I've been able to do,
Figuring something out on the fly.
what I've been able to do is I've been able to sail while I'm working. Although this year hasn't been the greatest, but most of the years have been pretty good. Um, so so I didn't have I haven't, although I'd like to do it full time, when I'm not there yet. But I have been able to figure out a way to sail and work. So
So that's what I do. We've got Starlink, and I help my clients whether I'm here or I leave. Through Zoom
Right.
calls, and it hasn't been an issue. So most clients, retirement's a very abstract word. It's different for everybody. So there's a lot of us. Matter of fact, you see our friends in there. They're like, I don't think. Maybe one of them actually would like to be on a sailboat and sail, but for the most part, no, that's not something that they want to do, which is cool.
Yeah.
Because and I've got friends that when they retire, they just want to golf all the time. And honestly, I mean,
that's expensive too.
I'd rather shot in the foot than golf every day.
Yeah. And I don't know. I was concentrating on getting the camera going, so I don't know how deep you got, but we have another channel, the Sailing Advisor is what we call him. And a lot of people at first are like, you haven't been doing this long enough to be a sailing advisor. Well, he's not advising people how to sail.
Right.
He's an advisor who sails. So yeah, you asked, does he help people? Yeah. That's the goal, is to help people.
Or the channel for the Sailing Advisor.
Yeah.
What's the channel? And I'll put it up.
I'm sorry. It's on YouTube. It's the Sailing Advisor. And I have it linked on our YouTube, our Facebook page. You can get to the Sailing Advisor on all of our social media. I have it linked. So we're just building that page and that channel. So it's pretty new. I'd love to get everybody over there to join the Sailing Advisor, because we are going to start putting out a lot more financially focused stuff to help people. One of the things that we ask is, what's your sailboat? You may not want to sail, but what is your dream? What's your sailboat? Is it being able to golf every day? Is it, is it travel? Whatever it may be, the dream is to be able to help others achieve that, whatever it is for them.
Whatever their dream is. Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
What I have found about the sailing thing is that most of the men want to do it, but the women don't.
That to be the case a lot. I think that we are very rare, Tinsley.
Yes.
It's so funny, Tinsley, because I'll have a lot of people like, how did you convince Amy to do this? I'm like, man, I'm telling you, I think she likes it more than me.
Yeah.
We both really enjoy it, but she really does. And as far as like being remote and away from people, she could definitely stay there longer than I could. I'm kind of like in between. I'm kind of like, I want to go out and I want to be remote. Then I want to get in and around people. I think Amy could just stay there.
I love it. I just love being out there, and I can't tell you what it's like to be around so much nature. It's just it's life changing. I've never experienced anything like that before.
And then you've got your phone for social media just to be in touch just enough, right?
Old school sailers like Captain John, who we bought this boat from, and Casey, they kind of laugh at us. They're like, okay, you got the
got that Starlink going.
Yeah, we're spoiled as sailors these days.
That is the thing. Like, Casey built his boat. There's nothing on that boat. I'm telling you. And when he's like, Shane, I don't know why you got that Wi-Fi. It's just gonna break, man. Just get rid of it now. Throw it over.
It probably will.
It will.
You can see what's happening trouble today.
But then when it breaks, I'll go back to not having it, just like he hasn't.
Yeah.
The price has come down, so
It's nice. Look, Casey will tell you he doesn't even want internet when he's out there. And people like us, we kind of start itching for it after a while.
Well, it goes back to travel now or travel later, and I don't have to wait till I retire. I can do it now if I have that.
Absolutely.
So it allows me to go more places. Like I was anchoring in the Everglades. There's no cell service in the Everglades. I was anchored in the Everglades. I was anchoring at an island in between Dry Tortugas and Key West. There's no cell coverage there.
Ooh,
That
yeah.
allows me to go more places. That's the way you answer
So
that
true.
question or
Oh, it's
that
so true.
criticism.
Yeah, we would
All right,
be years away from doing it. Yeah, it's a game changer.
right, exactly.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, so Captain Tinsley, are you a diver? Yes, I've been encouraging him to get certified. The experience brings the water to a whole different level. I miss it.
Yeah, my
Yes,
mom did that
we
years ago. She's highly recommending it. And Shane's certified.
you are?
Mhm.
Yeah, we got certified in 2009 and we made up for lost time. I mean, we've been to Cozumel probably 15 times. That's probably the best place. Just there's so much. The price is right. It's easy to get to and it's beautiful and there's so many choices there. But we've also been to Roatan, Belize, and Island Spirit. Oh my gosh. Do you all have Starlink? Yes, we all have Starlink, Hayden.
Right.
Thanks for coming on. That's cool. I'm so glad he came on. He is the king of this man right here is the king of Island Packets. He runs the Facebook page for Island Packets. He's also a broker and he can answer any question about Island Packets and probably any other boat too.
Awesome. Thank you.
I've got a really good friend of mine down in Guatemala that has an Island Packet that sailed for Steve. That sailed from the U.S. East Coast.
Hey, Jeff.
Down through Bahamas, all around the eastern or western Caribbean, and then all the way down to Guatemala. And he actually got stuck in Guatemala.
Yeah.
Stuck as he decided to stay there.
Yeah,
he's been there for years now.
Yeah.
Loves
Hayden probably knows who that is. Hayden probably knows the man who went to Guatemala and stayed there.
I bet he does.
Steve at Catamarans, actually. He's pretty well known.
Yeah, Steve Elliott, right?
Steve Elliott.
Yeah.
Steve Elliott. Do you know Steve Elliott, Hayden? Okay, 35 years on my IP.
35 years. Wow.
IP is Island Packet for those that are IP challenged.
Yes. I see my friend Michael said he would love to live a life without internet. It's not too bad once you get off of it for a bit. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, until the bills come due, right? But Hayden, Island Spirit here, he's got it. He's got it. So, and he's retired and he has it. Let's see. Steve Elliott. Okay. Steve Elliott, Island Packet. 38, named Snowflake. He runs a marina now called Catamaran Marina. See, he knows everybody with the Island Packet.
The community is pretty small, in that we all start to know each other.
Yeah. We've helped him. He does a lot of volunteering down there. We actually helped Steve down there. He helps an orphanage down there.
Yeah.
What's her name? Something
Mama Kona's, I think. It's a home for orphan children. He does so much.
Oh, wow.
Amazing.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Good guy. We absolutely love Guatemala. Like I couldn't say. I mean, it's kind of funny. We didn't know a lot about Guatemala when we went down there, but man, we absolutely love Guatemala.
I miss it. I've been having withdrawals. I love it so much there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you should come on next week because Hayden, Island Spirit 35 is going to be on here, and they've I think 26 years, Hayden, 26 years to the Caribbean, or and they go like November to May.
Yeah.
And so he's going to come on and talk about the route that they take from Florida to the Caribbean, and we're going to talk about some of the anchoriges. So you might want to tune in next week.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be great.
That'll be a good one. So, and we'll have visuals and everything. So, what's next for you guys?
This year we're probably going to leave around January, kind of right after the holidays. I've got a kid that plays soccer in Mississippi College, and it's hurricane season. So, and then you got the holidays coming up. So we decided not to leave till after the holidays.
Right.
We're gonna hop across the Florida Panhandle down to Key West, spend a little bit of time there, and then bounce across to Bimini.
My dad's watching. I've been wanting to go to Key West for years because my dad always went. So I know you're watching, Dad. I can't wait to show everybody Key West from the boat.
Yeah. So there we're going to go over to the Exumas and Eleuthera and the Exumas, and probably spend 3 months there and come back.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you'll have to tune in next week and hear. Here's he says, yeah, November to May, Miami to Antigua. So
Good trip.
tune in and you can hear what his route is. He certainly has done it many, many, many times. But I can help you with Key West and the Panhandle and Orange Beach and Gulf Shores and the West Coast of Florida.
Oh,
even though
awesome.
Yeah. So we got you covered.
We always meet awesome people that help us.
Oh yeah. And I love it that you're Gen Xers. So
Yes.
is there anything else you guys want to cover? Is there anything you want to talk about your business or anything like that? And what Expats? Tell us about that name.
We're Gen X and we're expats. So most Xers get it. We sometimes have to explain it, but everybody goes, "Oh, okay."
Yeah,
so,
but you're not expats though.
Well,
here.
What's next and what's coming, and that is coming.
I actually am an expat. I'm from Canada.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, all right. I did get it, by the way. I did get expats, Gen X, and so awesome. I guess I'm a senior citizen, Gen X. I was born in '65.
Yeah, still one. That's all right.
You get all the movies, all the play on words. Yeah.
But we do plan as the next few years pass. We want to be splitting our time right now between the Caribbean and here because our boys are all in college. One of them just finished welding school, but we want to be here for them right at this time. And then I think as they start to get out on their own and get more independent, we will probably set off and not come back too much.
Oh yeah. Well, that sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. So Hayden said spend time in Biscayne Bay. He loves spending time in Biscayne Bay. I've been there also, and that's where I crossed to the Bahamas. Well, I did go to the Bahamas once on my boat, on my IP-27.
Wow.
So tune in next week, and Hayden is he's a valuable source of information for all of that. So
looking forward to that.
Yeah, we all are. We'll all help each other, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, but if anybody out there has got questions for us, you can reach us through our Facebook page. My Facebook page is the more active one, but you can go to YouTube and send us a message.
And they find that at Gen Expats. I found it on TikTok. I found it on Instagram.
We try to be everywhere.
Facebook.
Website. You can message us or you can email us, genexpats@genexpats.com. Like I said, Shane is a financial advisor and he's here to help, everybody out there who's trying to get to that dream, whatever that dream is.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. All right. And I can attest, y'all are very friendly. I reached out to you and you got right back to me and said, Gen X, yeah, let's do it. That sounds like fun.
You reached out to the right person. Amy's the one that, kind of does everything.
Oh, man. I was like, Gen X, let's do it. And we hadn't done a podcast yet. So I was super excited.
Well, thank you very much. You were episode number 36. So
all right.
That's
all right.
awesome.
We're privileged and we're so happy to be here and we thank you for having us on.
Well, I'm going to follow up with you guys, so this won't be the last time you're on here.
Oh, great. We'd love to do it again. Yeah.
Hey, maybe we can do
persistent.
Maybe we can do it together down in Pirates Cove.
Yeah, if we cross paths.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I like to end my shows like this. Salty Abandon, out. Well, it didn't go. Salty Abandon,